everyone, and welcome to the Phillip Show. If you haven't already, grab your coffee and we will get started. I was watching a show the other day and it was about speakers and entrepreneurs and where passion comes from and where their drive comes from. And it's always so interesting to see the platforms that people rise to based on their personal stories. You've heard me say it before, so much of who we are and so much of what we do is centered around our responses to things that we've experienced in the past. And because of that, there's so many more opportunities for people because there are people that are concentrating to make the world a better place. So today, founder and CEO of Harmony Herb Company and 3 Idea Publishing Company, the co-founder of New Black Wall Street is here. Please welcome entrepreneur, speaker, writer, and health coach, Speaker Jermaine. Speaker Jermaine, hey, how are you?
I'm at my best, sir. How are you?
I'm doing really, really, really well. You have so many things going on. Where are you, first of all? Where are you located?
I'm in Carson, California, about 15 minutes from the heart of Los Angeles.
Oh, nice. What's the weather there? Because I have on this huge sweater. What's the weather there?
Well, it is absolutely amazing. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. I can't send you a Hallmark card to show you how great and beautiful it is. It is 76 degrees, clear skies, a nice crisp wind, California weather. We love it.
Well, I'm not going to say I'm jealous, but I'm jealous. That sounds wonderful.
Yes, sir.
That sounds wonderful. So like I was saying, we all have such different platforms and we all have such different perspectives when it comes to the world. And you have created this platform where you can be a mentor, a coach, you're an entrepreneur. Where did... relative to your story, where did all your drive come from to excel in the ways that you have?
It's a great question. I would start with this. I'm finishing up my new book and it's called The Question. I use the word question as a metaphor, quest I on. Let's rewind a little bit. Imagine when we were little children, we were taught to discover your passion. I truly believe that our passion is our passport to prosperity. In most cases, we're taught to go to school and then they put information in us versus allowing us a platform to cultivate our natural talent, skills, and gifts. Most times people go through pain and that allows them to discover their passion, their gift. Some people have a clear distinction when they were children, teenage, all the way to adult to get to that particular point. In regards to me, when I was a little boy, I knew that I had a spiritual gift, but I didn't understand it. I thought that everyone had that particular gift. I knew that I had a gift of speech, but I thought that everyone had that. But as I grew older and began to meet people and talk to people, I found out that I had a unique expression of that. But in reality, here's what I believe. Every gift is to prove the existence of love, light, and fulfillment. And we all are actors in the cosmic stage for the fulfillment of every person to be able to say, look, hear my story. If it resonates with you, now let me pull you up from hearing my story so that you could do the same thing for yourself.
For you, speaking to so many people, which part of I'm sure there's many facets to your story, but listening to what resonates with people, what part of your story do you find is the most sensational or has the most impact for people to connect and say, you know what, I get that part. I see me in that part.
Absolutely. So in being able to help a person to understand that the purpose of life is to live a purposeful life. It resonates with people for me to tell them that your perception of your life is not accurate. Life is constantly moving. There is no deadline to dreams. Don't feel as though that you didn't become a millionaire by the time you're 30, it's over. Don't feel as though because you haven't gotten married and you're 45 that it's over. Everyone has a unique expression in this life. Hold to the unique fingerprint, voice tone, DNA, hold to that and understand that never compare, because we live in a universe of duality. We live in a universe of complement. So love yourself and believe in yourself. And so what resonates with people when they hear me talk is that I get them once again to believe in the uniqueness of themselves and the belief in themselves. I say this to them, LOL, not laugh out loud, but leap over limitation.
I was just talking to somebody the other day, and this same subject of embracing your uniqueness came up. Just as a sidebar, why do you think it's so difficult for people to be authentic and embrace that? Why does it need to be such a banner? Why does it keep coming up time and time again? What is the challenge? And what are people missing? What are we all missing to make it such a pivotal kind of cornerstone in, speeches, in everything?
Yeah. So the first thing is to be able to understand capitalism. Capitalism is a hierarchy. To be understand that the predominant thought and the predominant fear is food, clothing, shelter. When individuals haven't been taught money systems that they would be able to express their talent, their skill, and gift and be free. The predominant thought of fear, false evidence appearing to be real. That's what holds people back. And so people look for motivation outside themselves because they walk around fearful how they're going to eat, fearful how they're going to pay their bills, fearful. And then a lot of people have jobs that they hate. So the first thing that we must begin to understand is we must begin to address the root cause of those thoughts. And that is mastering the money system in which you're in, capitalism.
And I know that is that's a huge one.
Yes,
That's a huge one because it impacts us in every single way.
Absolutely.
It impacts us all the time. You mentioned doing something that you love and finding something that you love. You are an entrepreneur. You're a speaker. You have you're the founder of the New Black Wall Street. You have an herb company. How do you determine, based on your skills, which direction to go? Because it seems like you can go in a lot of directions based on your talents. So how do you determine which way to go?
It's a great question. And many people have told me that you need to pick a path. But the reality of it is that these are my passions. These are my gifts. Some people have told me that's what's holding me back from getting on a national platform and people knowing me all over the world. And I told them, what if I'm not supposed to be known all over the world? You see, when someone tries to put upon you their definition of success, therein is the problem. Because to me, the definition of success is to be able to do what you love to do when you want to do it and how you want to do it and be at peace with yourself. That's success. Success never can be determined by money, because many people have assumed large amounts of money and still they're miserable within inside. So I think that each individual person must ask himself this question. Tomorrow morning is Monday. Are you going to get up and do what you love to do or do what you have to do? Because tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and do what I love to do. I'm going to sing, I'm going to rap, I'm going to dance, I'm going to be myself, I'm going to do my thing the way that I want it to be done. I have my 3-month-old grandson visiting me here from New York. Guess what? I'm going to go to the park and act silly with my grandson tomorrow, and I'm still going to make some money.
And still going to make some money.
Still going to make some money.
Yeah, that's so important. And that part of what you're saying, and it goes back to what you're saying about, about fear, being able to control what success looks like to you means that you are willing to not be afraid of taking risks. You're willing to not be afraid to step out of, I guess, the pattern or the comfort zones or those boxes that people put you in. If you were fearful, then entrepreneurship probably wouldn't be the path. If you were fearful, then, a lot of the things that you're saying wouldn't be able to come to fruition. And I think a lot of people need to kind of put a bookmark in fear and just how is that showing up in their lives and in their decisions, specifically surrounding what success means to them. Welcome to the Phillip Show. 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 Grab your coffee. Grab your coffee. Grab your coffee. Grab your coffee, because this one's going to be good. You are the best you in the world. I will see you next time on The Phillip Show. So, Speaker Jermaine, thank you again for being here. One of the things that I see that you're so passionate about as well is activism. I know that you have a book called A New Mindset for Black America. Why is supporting the community and giving back in that way, why are you passionate about that?
Yes, sir. So really quickly, in 1989 was the summer of transformation for me. I picked up the New York Times, and those of you in today's time, please understand I'm a little bit older. We used to actually read the newspaper. There was no social media. And I read a story about a young Black boy by the name of Yusef Hawkins, who was killed just because he was Black. That ignited a fire and a passion inside of me. Here's the thing about activism. No matter what particular cause that you're passionate about, activism is not something in which we stand on an island and scream. Every person should be involved in justice and equity for all causes and for all people. Activism is not about making people feel bad. Activism is simply the process of articulating a level of injustice, working diligently to bring about a solution. Then we can move forward. The founders of this country talked about toward a perfect union. We're not a perfect country. No country is. But in the sense of activism, we're simply identifying things in our society that we need to be more cognizant of and bring about a solution. I'm passionate because not only because of the color of my skin, I'm passionate about the injustice in regards to the Gaza Strip. I'm passionate about Armenian justice. I'm passionate about the Jewish conflict. And let me say this in closing. You know, from the Middle East perspective, so many people have been trying to figure out how to bring about a solution. And to me, it's very simple. There's a concern about land. There's a concern about control and dominance. And many prime ministers have come along. Many individuals have come along. How about this? How about you sit the people down and say, listen, neither one of you are going to leave this table with everything that you want. So what I want you to write out is 10 things that you want, and we're going to practice the principle of 6 out of 10. Because the most important thing, do you want your children to grow up in this conflict and this bloodshed? And I know you don't want that. Therefore, I'm asking you to put all the things that you want to the side, accept the principle of 6 out of 10, and let's move forward. The cosmic relationship, the local relationship, and bring about activism that can bring about a solution and equity to both people. We must get them to understand. We understand that there's a religious identification to this land that you love. We understand that there is a Talmud perspective. We understand that there's an Islamic perspective. But do you believe that that is superior than your children growing up in another generation of bloodshed? No, you don't. Therefore, both of you come up with 6 out of 10 and let's resolve this conflict. This is something that we can need to do. I don't have to be pro-Israeli and don't like Arabs or those Palestinians. I don't have to be pro-Palestinian, don't like Jews. We can find equity in both. We don't have to have these positions that just condemning. We don't have to go from 0 to 100. We can have peace and equity in all aspects of activism. And that's where I'm at. No person that is white, Asian should feel as though that I am not a part of the human family. I'm speaking about issues that are pertaining to my community, but I am a part of the larger community as well. No person that is lesbian or gay, no person that is agnostic, any person should have love, respect, and protection and should be allowed to be an activist for that they resonate deep within their soul. That's what I believe.
And I think that's admirable. I think it's well said, and it sounds so simple, and I think if it was that simple, I think even over here in the US, we could just come to the same table and do the same 6 out of 10. And we've over here come through our own challenges and are still going through our own challenges when it comes to injustices and having to stand up for what we believe. Through the years, we've been fighting. It seems what's going on in Gaza and Israel is very unique to our times. What we've been doing over here the racial injustice and all of that, that seems like it's been going on for a very long time, but yet we still continue to fight. I was on a panel the other day, and one of the things that came out of the panel is growing weary in continuing to have the same speeches, growing weary in continuing to fight for the same things. How do you stay motivated to continuously move forward in a, I guess, in a conversation or in a situation that seems like there's no end to it? It's just going to keep going, even to, like you were saying, your children and grandchildren, our grandfathers and our fathers and grandfathers fought the same fight. So how do you keep going in your lane and not grow weary and say, I don't really see an end to this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that we must understand is this: there's always a measure of responsibility in any particular conflict. Once we're able to identify our own personal responsibility, then we have to evolve our consciousness to understand that there are going to be some people that don't agree and don't like you. That's okay. You cannot fight that cause. It's important to have the financial stability. It's important to be able to use economics as a tool for the implementation of justice for a community that doesn't receive justice. What would happen if every particular community focused on, instead of saying this, you heard 3 months ago what happened at Navy Federal Credit Union. You heard 6 months ago what happened at Wells Fargo. You heard of all these economic disparities. Okay, that's great news. But let me give you some more news. You are the solution. Why don't you say, we're going to get certified with the Department of Treasury and set up our own CDFIs, set up our own financial institutions, and do the things that we need to do. Nobody is stopping us from being self-sufficient. You see, I can't beg Wells Fargo to do what they should do. I can't beg Navy Federal Credit Union to do, but we do have power. You see, we don't want to lose the fact of our leverage in the context of looking at the bigger community and what they're not doing. That's when you look within yourself and say, okay, what resources do I have? We have never lacked resources. We have lacked the mindset to be resourceful. In being resourceful, we bring about a solution to ourselves. And once we're self-sufficient, the larger community begins to identify that and respect that. We have tremendous purchasing power. But what the issue is not the things that keep popping up. It's the lack of unity. You see, when there's unity consciousness, everything changes. The issue is lack of unity consciousness. If we can get a group of people to say this: we believe that we should have food, clothing, and shelter, have access to education, have access to cash. Okay, great. Let's form a community around that. Look at the word communion. We're communing with one another. And in the word as a commune is unity. Then we have unity with each other to bring about justice for ourselves. We have tremendous economic empowerment. And therein is the solution. We can't beg people to do anything. They don't want to do it. We got the right to do it for ourselves. How we don't get weary is understanding this. Listen, I need $1 million to implement my Seeds of Success program. Well, you can go to the bank, you can fill out an application, you can see if your credit's good. But if I go get turned down, guess what? I'm not going to give up, because to give up, I am going to skip the entrepreneurial lesson that I'm going to be able to pass down to my children. You see, life is about learning and growing. I'm going to sit up there and say, okay, you turned me down. Can you educate me on why you turned me down? What can I do to qualify for that? We must have a mindset to be resourceful. That's how we don't get weary. That's how we don't get weary. Very simple.
Yeah, no, I love that. One of the things that I guess would be a pushback, even though we can have resources, and I think some people argue that because we don't have the power, the access is often denied. So the road to doing those things is often a lot more of a struggle than necessary, if you will. So, to open up our banks, to do all of these things, there's some access issues that some would say would be an obstacle. What would you say to that?
Well, there used to be a thing called Black Monday. We can all sit down and you don't see us no more. We ain't gonna play no basketball, no football, no baseball, no dancing, no singing, no entertainment. We're gonna all sit down until we come to the negotiating table. We always have leverage. We always have power, tremendous power. Do you understand the power and the numbers that we have today compared to when the original Black Wall Street in the 1900s? Do you understand? Here's something really quick. You know, Thomas Jennings was the first Black person to receive a patent in the United States for his dry cleaning process in New York. Did he get a loan from a bank? Mm-mm. Was he a citizen of America? Mm-mm. How did he set up a cleaners? How did he set up before there was an NAACP? He put his daughter through law school and she set up an organization that was before the NAACP, Fighting for Action. How did he do this? He did it by understanding leverage and resourcefulness. So in regards to being able to say, we don't, we do, but we lack unity. When we have, listen, Hollywood is going to listen to us. You know why? We have numbers. The financial institutions will listen to us. You know why? We have numbers. We don't lack anything but unity and resourcefulness. That's all that it is.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I love one of your slogans was, "I create my life with the 3 I's of success: imagination, inspiration, and intuition." Where did you get that from? And tell me how that helps you to shape your perspective when it comes to living your life.
Absolutely. And you can go to my website, www.speakerjermaineinc.com, to purchase the book, The 3 I's of Success. So meditation, I practice daily heart rhythm meditation. I take the time to be still, to listen, and being inspired, all those things came out. You know, I've been speaking since 1989. I've never written out a speech and I never will. I just stand. You tell me what you want me to talk about. Let's go. Let the inspiration flow. And I think more people need to do that and to be creative. There's so much editing going on in the world. And I understand that you want to be perfect and have this and have that. But sometimes just stand up and let it go. Be creative. So I love to be still and I love to meditate. And that's where my inspiration comes from.
I love that. And it's so interesting that you said that you haven't written out a speech, because you're very good with responding, and it's very it sounds very thought out, which is great. And it sounds very, let me see, to be generous, for most, it would be something that they have to rehearse and they would have to have written down. So why do you think that skill or that talent is so prevalent in you?
I think because of belief. I've always had a belief. I've never stood up in an audience and had a thought that they're going to laugh at me. Most people are very intimidated by standing in front of the audience. I've always stood up in front of the audience and believed that they want me to succeed. I think that that's just my natural gift as an orator, to be able to stand up and do that. But I want to encourage all people to know that if you get up and start doing it, whether it's dancing, singing, writing poetry, whatever it is, practice the fact or the process of just being in the moment. People get inspiration in the shower. People get inspiration walking on the beach. People get inspiration. But what happens is, as the ideas come, they start writing them down or they start speaking them. Then doubt comes in. See, the voice of doubt inside their head is louder than the voice of creativity. My voice of creativity is louder than the voice of doubt. That's all.
Wow, the voice of creativity is louder than the voice of doubt. That's really good, because I think identifying that is a huge win, because so many people may not know, why they don't do X, Y, and Z. And it could be fear, it could be doubt, it could be all of these things. So, Speaker Jermaine, what is your current project? What are you working on now? And how can we support you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So we have New BLK Wall Street, a program. It's called the House of Trades. In California, we have over 30 prisons. And so what we want to do is, I have a curriculum. Before individuals be released from prison, it's a 1-year curriculum. And it's outlined, disciplines is the pathway for the fulfillment of your dreams. So I teach men and women, when they're incarcerated, how to neurologically reprogram their thoughts so that they can begin the process of being disciplined. When they come out, I'm seeking to get funding to set up a home. And these are not going to be halfway homes. These are not going to be places where you just come there. It's called the House of Trades because everything in this house, you will learn the process of roofing, electrical, plumbing, tile, gardening, painting. That house is going to be not only where you live, but it's going to be the place where you learn a trade, a skill. So it's called the House of Trades. So we're seeking to raise funds so that we'll be able to implement this. So I need help with that. I need support with that. If anyone knows different organizations or places that's looking for a speaker, I want to get out there and speak and meet people and do interviews. I want to raise awareness and help people. And here's the last part. I just finished this weekend, speaking of inspiration, I started a book on Friday evening at about 4 o'clock. It's called Problems versus Perspective. I finished the book this morning at 2 o'clock. I didn't write anything. I just spoke it out. And so this is my new book where I want to use my life coaching to talk to people and solve their problems and raise money for this cause. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm working on right now. So you can reach out to newblkwallstreet1.org, or you can find me on all social media at Speaker Jermaine. And I'll be more than happy to network and answer questions. And we're doing our best to really get the message out there. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you not being fearful, not being afraid, not letting doubt stop you, and you just really doing the work. We hear a lot of things and we hear a lot of scenarios and we hear a lot of recommendations. But from what I'm seeing here and for what I'm seeing of you prior to here, it's not just a recommendation, it's actually an action plan that you're putting into place and you're doing the work. So I appreciate you and I applaud you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Well, that was Speaker Jermaine. Listen, I got inspired to go do something. One of my biggest takeaways is it was fear. You know, everything that he was talking about, and even some of the questions that I was asking him, the responses are because I wasn't afraid, because I wasn't afraid of what people were thinking, because I wasn't afraid to succeed, because I didn't think I could not. So make sure that you look for Speaker Jermaine. You'll have all the information at thephillippshow.com, but also look into your life and see what obstacles do you have, and is it you that is standing in your way, or do you really need to speak some power over those objections that you're giving yourself? So think about that. And as usual, you are the best you in the world. I will see you next time here on The Phillip Show. Don't